Hello again and welcome to VAFA Tragics. If there was any doubt about the competitiveness of the William Buck Premier section, it was thrown away this week. As round 10 action unfolded, we had some fantastic matches in William Buck Premier. As I welcome the panel for VAFA Tragics, Marty Kelleher.
Andrew.
How are you?
I'm well, just back from the winery.
Very good. Well, we'll talk sure about Tabilk wines later on in your wine of the week. Michael Fitzgerald, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Andrew. It's you're still here.
I'm still here.
How can we miss you if you don't go away?
I'm still here, exactly right, absolutely still here. And Brenton Mann, good to have you back on the desk.
Good evening, Andrew. Very nice to see you.
Very nice to see you, and we'll talk about St John's later on in the show, I'm sure. But before we do that, we'll have a look at William Buck Premier. And the first game we want to look at is Beaumaris and De La Salle. And Brenton and Marty, I know you both had a look at this game, but Brenton, perhaps if you tell us about how Beaumaris went in the first term, and Marty, you can tell us how De La came home in the second half.
Yep. Well, Andrew, at the start, it was a very scrappy affair. You could tell they're two lowly sides in Premier Division. There's a lot of turnovers. Both sides were committing them, and then De La really struggled to penetrate their forward 50. Countless turnovers inside 50. Beaumont was just taking uncontested marks, and then Bowie, their first three goals from free kicks inside 50, which would have had the De La coach pulling his hair out, and then they went on a 6-goal streak, and then after that, 3 goals for the rest of the game.
Marty, you had a look at that, and you can tell us about, I'm sure, it's nice to talk about De La Salle with a smile on your face.
It is, and I don't have to wear a jacket this week either, Andrew, which is lovely. Look, in complete contrast, I agree with Brenton, in complete contrast to what had happened in the first quarter, where it was Beaumaris running in numbers, obviously capitalising on turnovers. In the third and fourth quarter, and there were signs there, I think, at the start of the second, Brenton, where what had happened was there was plenty of running numbers, 5-6 players to a Beaumaris player, and to kick 10 goals in a quarter was a complete contrast and almost threw the game plan of everybody out the door.
The thing that struck me was De La were very dominant in the first quarter with their ruck. Their ruckman was all over Bowie's ruckman, but they couldn't capitalise around the stoppages.
Absolutely.
Bowie just really, they spread well from the stoppages. They exited their stoppages with the hand, where De La were more stagnant and, the hack kick over the shoulder. Did that change in the second half?
No, I just think that I think that the players then became a little bit more mobile around the stoppages. We also straightened up. I mean, De La straightened up when they were going inside 45 or inside the 50 to a leading player. I also think that you're right. I mean, I think Anthony Ferrado's form this year has been absolutely terrific, and he is an unsung player.
He's a good player, mate.
I think. It was a must-win game, though, let's be honest. De La Salle had to win it, and they would have been nervous being 8 goals down early in the second quarter.
Oh, look, dreadful sort of start to the game, dreadful start to what is such a big game for the club at that particular time. So to end up, to then be able to have the confidence to then go away and kick 18 of the next 21 goals was outrageous.
Undisciplined acts rearing their head again for Bowie?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the report out of the day, of course, Ralph Clark being reported he'll face the tribunal tomorrow night for this incident in the third quarter. Moving on to the next game, St Bernard's, who obviously they did brilliantly a couple of weeks ago, kicking 19 goals in after 3 quarters, a bit like De La Salle did, but this time against Old Trinity they couldn't break away from the top side, and they've swapped places on the ladder. Just a brilliant game of football.
Well, from what I've seen of the game, Andrew, certainly these two are the class of the competition, and it's going to be a very tough job for any of the sides to knock those two out of the second semi, or for that matter the finals, because I think as we stand now after 10 rounds they are clearly the cream of the comp.
So I just want to ask a question, and I know that we've sometimes questioned Ultra Trinity's credentials. Last year they went out to the Snake Pit and got
by 10 goals,
comprehensively beaten, without probably their best player, the heartbeat of their club, with Brendan Yetzi being out. To lose by a goal, Fitz, where do you?
Well, I think it's a great effort, and I think one of the things that Adam Andrews will be impressing on everyone out there at Trinity, and I'm sure the team feels the same way, that it'd be great to have Brendan Yetzi, but they don't have him. So you only worry about the people you've got and the ones you can control.
just looking at that improvement over that year, have they improved that much, or have Burnet's perhaps?
Last year would have been a massive confidence.
Oh,
I think Burnet's are a better team than they were last year as well.
They've definitely improved. It was a pulsating last quarter, and as evidenced by this brilliant passage of play the last minutes or so. St Bernard's up by a goal here, and Trinity win the ball win the ball on the last line of defence, and they elect to play on. Just exciting stuff, a series of handballs. The kick into the middle of the ground to Kyrgiakopoulos, just a dangerous kick, but that paid off. They opened up, and the siren just beating them in time there before it got into the hands of Weatherson.
Risk and reward. They took the risk, and they nearly reaped the reward.
And not a bad effort from Jack Hunt with that goal of the year contender from the boundary to get things going for them in the last quarter as well. There was a couple of other thrilling games. Collegians, who led by 29 points at three-quarter time over Old Scotch, went down by a goal. The Cardinals with a 6-0-0 final quarter.
Who saw that one coming?
Well, I mean, that's it's a pretty amazing effort, isn't it, really, against a team that I think those of us who watch a lot of amateur football trust pretty well. We know what Collegians are going to give us every week, and we're not that sure about Scotch, and coming off a bunch of losses, I think it's a great effort. Not really sure how Collegians let that happen, but I guess Hibbo and Biscuits and the boys will sort that out on the track this week.
Now, Scotch should be safe now, you'd assume. Well, they got 4 wins.
Hang on.
Well, they haven't been relegated in their history, I believe.
Got the early cry.
Oh, they've been relegated before.
They have been relegated?
Last week, someone
79.
said they were in desperate
79
trouble.
was the last time they
said
got relegated.
weren't.
Yeah.
One win doesn't change the situation.
4 wins.
When you have a look at the
News
premiership
for D-Lar and Bowie as well, if Scotch are safe.
Is this the last show of the year, is it?
Assumptions, you know what they say about assumptions.
The other game of excitement was Blues and Old Carey at University Oval. Old Carey at one stage were up by 4 goals in the second quarter, 8 goals 2 on the board. They went into half-time 9 goals 10, so they've kicked 1 goal 8 in the second half of that term. Probably had their chances to put the game away, and Blues, as we would have expected, came back hard in the third, and then it was a pulsating final quarter, Fitzy.
Well, I'm not sure that pulsating is the right word for it, Andrew.
Or the closeness of the game, perhaps.
It was certainly, although unfortunately the cameraman didn't give us a scoreboard shot for the entire quarter, which actually didn't do much.
That only increases the tension.
Well. But really, in the last quarter there at University Oval, it was all Blues. Blues totally dominated the quarter. Carey really couldn't get into it. And if it weren't for Julian Rowe, Blues would have had the game to themselves, but Rowe was absolutely brilliant on the hockey court side of the ground, driving Carey in occasion after occasion and really doing a good job. And he kicked a couple of goals. I think he missed a couple as well, but he was in absolutely everything. Every time they went forward, he got the ball and he was the one responsible. So a really solo effort there from a really good player in Julian Rowe, but Blues got the chocolates.
Well done to Blues, but still I think it's a disappointing one for Carey. They'll look at that, having controlled the game in the first half and had a chance to maybe put it beyond reach. That's one that probably got away from them. The final game of the round in William Buck Premier was Uni Blacks. They jumped Old Zaverians. Again, Fitzy, you were there for this one. Zavs came back, but it was probably a bit too little too late.
Well, it was a very lacklustre beginning from Zavs. They just looked sluggish after they were up for the week before. They didn't look that excited to be there, frankly, on Saturday. Made errors,
It's been the story of their year, the up and down form of Zavs.
And Uni Blacks ran the ball a lot of times coast to coast for scores. And Zavs just, when Zavs got the ball and used it properly, they found it quite easy to penetrate the defence as well. But they didn't use the ball too well, and a lot of turnovers. And it was just until Chris Larkins went forward in the final term, they just didn't look like scoring enough goals to win. And I think the final margin, which couple of goals.
Did that flatten the Zavs?
Yeah, I think so.
Too early to say no win, no ball, no Zavs?
No, well,
I'm joking.
You deal with what you've got, and from week to week, every team changes, and I think St Bernard's and Old Trinity are showing the way.
Yep.
They have changes every week and the results are pretty similar every week, and that's what any coach and any team should strive for.
In Premier B, Brenton, you were having a look at probably the game of the round, one of the games of the round, probably not before going into the game, but with the way Fitzroy performed, they were just sensational against St Kevin's.
It's one of the better games of football I've watched for the year. The first quarter was 4 goals apiece, and both sides really... both sides were playing very similar brands of football. They were playing tempo football when they needed to, but also playing that with a lot of flair and run and gun when the opportunity arose.
Well, a lot of sides will look at this and say, this is maybe how we take it up to St Kevin's, because Fitzroy were right on top for 3 quarters.
So the second quarter was really where Fitzroy really went into their work. They held Scobbs goalless, which I believe is the first time this year. Their pressure in their forward 50 was immense, and they forced a lot of turnovers from Scobbs, and then they really capitalised. The first quarter, Scobbs were allowed to take a lot of uncontested marks inside their forward 50 and have generate a lot of drive, from there. But in the second quarter, Fitzroy were all over him. It was the first tackle, the second tackle, the third, the fourth. They just didn't allow Scobbs any easy ball.
Big crowd out there, I believe. There was a big crowd.
About 1,500 there, I think.
That's terrific. You get so many people want to go and watch amateur footy.
I think the Roys are coming too. They're looking really good with their last few weeks, and particularly this performance against St Kevin's, and also still the finals 4 spots are not sewn up in Premier B.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that there's a number of teams. Similarly, I think to the William Buck Premier, there's a number of teams who can make it. I'm saying that about the Premier division, but of course I'm aware that Brenton's already written off the season. We've already finished.
Just assuming, Marty. I'm just assuming.
Whereas I think in Premier B, whilst we do have an unbeaten side, what it does show that, for 3 quarters.
I don't think they'll go through the season undefeated, St Kevin's.
Is that healthy to do that?
I don't believe it is.
Probably not.
No.
I think it's healthy to win every week, Marty.
Oh no, well I must admit, I have a much better.
I think a nice round 20-0 would be what Scobbs are
Unfortunately for Fitzroy,
they may well get there.
Unfortunately for Fitzroy, they couldn't sustain that pressure over the 4 quarters, which...
So did they lose anybody during the game at all? Or?
No, St Kevin's just really flicked the switch in the last... It was probably in the last 12 to 15 minutes they really got a run on and run away with the game.
A couple of the other games that of note throughout the day, and we highlighted this going into the game last week, Kew and Ormond were both 9-0 entering their round 10 clash, and it was the Bears heading down to the EE Gun that came away with a 63-point win. Marty, that's a disappointing day for Ormond. I think you've got them lined up in your good day and bad day later on, but...
No, I've actually changed them.
Oh, you've changed them?
But look, it was disappointing for Ormond, and I think that one of the reasons it would be disappointing from their perspective is that they were at home, and in many ways, it's a little bit like as you were just saying 5 seconds ago, Fitzy, no one wants to lose a game, but certainly not at home. You do tend to want to make your home ground a fortress. It's an interesting ground to play on, but those old timers would sort of remember it when they were at the higher echelons. And given that they are celebrating their past glories through the 80s and 90s, it would be terrific. That would have been a game they would have set themselves for, to re-establish themselves and really push it up a little.
Brenton, some worrying signs for St John's. Talk to us about the fact you've lost 2 in a row, and Fitzy's theory of if you've been on a streak, you drop 2 games has come true again.
Yes, unfortunately for us, lack of personnel is playing a part in that. It's the way we were playing earlier in the year is not the way we're playing at the moment, which is concerning, and the way we were beaten on the weekend, allowing Northern Blues to play the game on their terms for the entirety of the game was really disappointing, but we have to learn from that, and it's more all about the system than the personnel, so hopefully we bounce back this week against Melbourne High.
And the other game of note in the round, Fitzy, these were scenes outside your house just only a few weeks ago, after you had Chadstone in the firing line and you're firing on 5.
That's just a beat up. The Chadstone people aren't like that. They're well behaved.
But they had a win, which was more importantly, and the scenes of celebration and jubilation were just sensational.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's great to see them win. No one likes to go through a season without success, and you go out there every training night and every game with the same intent, and that is to win. And you can't always win, but it's nice to win sometimes.
It's time now for Good Day, Bad Day.
'Cause you had a bad day.
Right, who had a good day and a bad day? Marty Kelleher.
Good day. Andrew, I'm going to go with Monash Blues in their 1,000th game in the VAFA. They had a really big win over what was, I suppose, upon reflection, a very disappointing Old Haileybury. But a terrific outcome for them, and Paul Groves has got them up and about. My bad day is Caulfield Grammarians in what was probably what the English in the Premier League like to call that relegation 6-pointer. Here was a relegation 8-pointer, and they probably fluffed their lines a little. So they need to look within, and if they don't get their season back on track quickly, they could be in trouble.
Fitzy.
Well, very quickly, good day. I think after the troubles they've had the past 6 weeks, I think for Old Scotch to kick 6 in the final term and get up against a very good collegiate team is worthy of note. And bad day, I'd say Mount Lilydale. Not the best day for the Cider men.
Fair enough. Brenton, who was your good day and bad day?
Good day for me was Q and their forward duo of Andrew Brazzali and Robert Mailbaum, who have combined for an enormous 87 goals for the year. Brazzali on track to kick the ton. He's at 48 at the moment. And a bad day for me, unfortunately, Bo Morris. 9-goal first quarter, 3 goals to 18 after that. And Raf Clark on report is not a good day.
Certainly isn't. Good day for me, no doubt, is Powerhouse. They had a fantastic day, getting a win, a much-needed win in Division 3. They would be very happy coming from behind there. Bad day for Yarra Valley. They haven't had a win yet this year, Yarra Valley Old Boys, but to be at home to Bulleen Templestowe, it was 9th versus 10th, and to go down by thereabouts of 13 goals. They're doing things tough at the Bushrangers at the moment, and all the best for the rest of the year. Hopefully they can turn it around. It's time now for Fitzy Fires on 5.
Each and every week I examine 5 different aspects of amateur football. This week, number 5, happy times for Emmaus. Not only will prominent alumna and board member at Cliff Bastow House, Davina Callum, represent Australia in the Ironman Triathlon World Titles, but Emmaus St Leo's, my pre-season pick for the Div 3 flag, is now 10-0. Last year they were singing "We Gotta Get Out of This Place," but tipped out of the finals in straight sets. But this year it could well be the Animals singing "Heavens Above, We're on a Street Called Love." Number 4, Premier C. And what a fight that's going to be, as Old Ivanhoe, Marshall, Haileybury and Monash Blues battle for the 2 spots in the second semi. And then there's Peninsula. But as Napoleon observed, an army marches on its stomach. And I'm betting the afternoon tea at Chelsworth Park will be enough to see the Hoes wearing the brown nicks in September. Number 3, De La Salle. Conceding 9 goals in the first term is not the way to snap a 6-game losing streak. But they hit back and took the points. They still sit on the bottom of Premier section, but a lot of teams above will now fear the blue and gold revival. Number 2, Fitzroy. Yes, they've won just 3 of their last 5, but the 2 losses were tight and against strong teams, including St Kevin's. Will the Lions rise to destroy the might of the South in Premier B? The records at Cliff Bastow House say they're still 2 games out, but just 3 off second spot. You watch 'em go. And number 1, winners are grinners, and so are the sinners. Congratulations to Chadston, the admin, the players and coach Ken Schwab on grabbing a much needed win on Saturday. Not only that, the Resi saluted too. Let's hope this is only the start for a club that has long been working hard but struggling hard too. And if you don't agree, too bad. I just call it as if I see it.
Well done, Fitzy, firing on 5 there. Another beautiful 5 there. And thanks also for the tribute last week, although I am still here. It's time now for Marty Kelleher's Wine of the Week.
Thanks, Andrew. This week, after my very quick sojourn up to the winery at Tabilk and just outside Nagambie, where some of these boys may have been with the APS rowing, we have a Tabilk sparkling, so a premium sparkling called the Couslant, which is named after Francis Couslant, who was the first winemaker of Tabilk and was the founding father, and his winemaking styles and techniques are still employed today as he actually set the foundation. This is a lovely rich, creamy style of bubbles. So please, if you are looking for it, contact me or get in contact with Blair here at VAFA House, and we can organise to get some of that for your end of season. Maybe the 10-0 powerhouse. Who was it? 10-0?
Animals.
The Animals. Maybe they might need this come September. Wine of the week. The Amateurs is built on fraternity and friendship across a number of different clubs. What I'd like to see is that we do keep the after-match drink alive. I think it's important that all clubs go in. I know a lot do, but I think that there are some where the players, perhaps they pack their bags just a tad too quickly. It doesn't take much to go in, grab something to eat and grab a softie and just go and thank your opponent for the game. That's all, Andrew. I think that we need to continue to keep the spirit of the Amateurs alive.
Yeah.
Hear from everyone. I think you'll find. Well done, Fitzy, for getting through tonight. I know you're under the weather, but I'm sure we'll see you back at the Tragics decks next week. Thanks again, Marty.
Thank you, Andrew.
We'll hopefully DLSL can get another win later on. Later on this year. We've got a bye, don't we, coming up? One more week and then one more week and then the bye. Yep. I'm losing track of time here. Brenton, good luck to St John's.
Yeah, we'll bounce back against Melbourne High.
Good on you.
Does 2 losses lead to 6?
Ooh.
maybe relegation into Division 2.
I think I'll twinge in there.
We will see you all again next week on the Tragics. See you then.
VAFA TV at vafatv.com.